Take a deep breath. Allow this moment to reach your heart. Something is happening inside you that you may not be able to explain yet. It's like a silent restlessness, a feeling that something is about to happen, but you don't understand what it is yet. It's not anxiety. It's not fear. It's the touch of heaven trying to get your attention. I'm here. And it was I who brought you to this message. You didn't get here by chance. Every step, every event, even the delays and frustrations, were part of a path that I myself traveled. Because today I have something urgent to reveal to you. There is an appointed time for everything, and the time you are living in now is more than an ordinary season. It is a prophetic time. A time where the natural and the supernatural meet to manifest something extraordinary. And I don't want you to waste this time. You have felt this. A restlessness that appears when everything seems calm. An annoyance that makes you look up, without knowing exactly why. It is my presence calling you. It's heaven warning you. Because what I'm about to do won't be small. It won't be common. But before I act, I speak. Before you move, I warn you. Before transforming, I prepare myself. And that's what I'm doing now, preparing you. Maybe you felt like you're on the edge of something, like there's a promise lurking but still hidden. And indeed there is. But before the demonstration, I always send a call. One word. A sign. And this is the moment. You are listening to my voice now because the time has come to align yourself with what I am about to do. And if you ignore this call, you may miss what I have so diligently prepared. There is an open window above you. A unique opportunity. An invisible movement that can only be discerned by those who have attentive spiritual ears. Many live as if nothing were happening, but those who listen to me know, the sky is moving. I'm moving. I call you to a new time. But I need you to stop for a moment and listen to me with your heart. Can you feel it? That slight tightness in the chest, that desire to cry for no reason. It is my spirit confirming within you that this word is real. How many times have you felt like something was coming, but then got distracted by the pressures of life? How many times have you felt the desire to pray more, to seek more, to give more, but you put it off for later? Today I tell you, do not leave for later what heaven has marked for now. This feeling you have inside is not in vain. She is the breath of my presence that prepares you for an awakening. And that's why I insist, listen with your spirit. Pay attention to what is said. This is not just another message. It is a decisive moment. You are on the brink of a time of revelation, but each revelation demands attention. It is not just about listening with the ears, but with the spirit. That's why I ask you, open your heart. Don't block this moment with doubts, with rationalizations, with distractions. I'm here. I'm talking. And what I'm saying can completely transform your journey, if you're willing to listen. Many say they want change, but continue to ignore the small signs. Others pray for answers, but don't acknowledge when I show up. Do not be like those who look at the sky waiting for thunder, while I speak in the whisper of conscience, in the soft breeze of faith. This is the sound of awakening. This is the sound I make when I call you. If you feel this calling, do not harden your heart. This restlessness you feel is a call for realignment. It is the beginning of a new cycle. Don't fear the unknown. Just be afraid to waste your time taking advantage of the opportunity. Because there are times when simple obedience changes everything. And this is one of those moments. You are not alone. You never were. And now, more than ever, I want you to know, I see you. I know you. And I'm calling you. My call is not confusing. He is clear. But you must choose to listen with your heart. This is the moment. If you feel that this word is alive within you, comment now, I hear you. This comment is not just a gesture, it is a spiritual response. An act of surrender. A sign that you are awake, sensitive and attentive to what I am revealing to you. Breathe deeply again. This is just the beginning of something extraordinary. Can you understand how time passes differently? The hours seem to fly by. The days are getting shorter. The seasons change faster. But still, many continue to live as if everything were normal. They ignore the signs. They ignore warnings. They believe they still have time to resolve it later. But I tell you, the time of passive waiting has come to an end. This is a decisive moment. A time when inertia can be costly. Where silence in the face of a call can close doors that were about to open. I'm waking you up because you can't live on auto mode anymore. There are things that move in the spiritual world, but only those who are attentive will be able to discern them. Only those who are sensitive to my voice will realize that something great is about to premiere. And this liberation will not reach everyone. It will come on those who respond, on those who stand up, on those who are willing to say, I am ready, Lord. You feel like you need something new, that you can't stand living like before. But he often remains paralyzed, waiting for everything to change on its own. Waiting for the perfect scenario. The perfect answer. The ideal day. But heaven does not wait. I don't wait. When I speak it is because the time has come. And now is that time. The time to act. The time to move. The time to respond to my call with obedience. You prayed for transformation. You asked for a sign. You shouted for direction. And now I'm here, speaking directly to you. But what are you going to do with this word? Are you going to let it go like so many others? Are you going to postpone again what the Spirit has already confirmed in your heart? Or will you make the decision that could change everything? Many want the new, but do not abandon the old. They want to fly, but they remain stuck to the ground of their excuses. I call you to free yourself from this today. Because there will be no change without movement. There will be no miracle without an answer. What you do now defines what you will experience later. This is the spiritual truth that many ignore. They think that simply waiting is faith. But it is not. Waiting without obedience becomes procrastination disguised as spirituality. And I didn't call you for that. I have called you to walk in faith, to respond with action, to move even before you see. You don't need to understand everything. You just need to trust and take the first step. Don't settle into the comfort zones you've built out of fear and doubt. They are traps that prevent the promise from flowing. The time for apathy is over. I am breathing on thirsty hearts, awakening those who were spiritually asleep. And if you feel it burning inside you, don't resist. Do not delay what heaven demands now. I put in your hands a unique opportunity to break with everything that has held you back until now. There are people who pray for opportunities, but when they arrive they do not recognize them. Others listen to instructions, but wait for the scene to change and only then obey. These do not harvest. They don't move forward. They don't taste what was prepared. Because the sky moves with those who move. It is not necessary to have everything figured out. You just need to be available. An available heart is worth more than 1,000 perfect plans. I'm looking for available, not ready. Those who say, here I am, even trembling inside, but trusting that I am the empowering God. What seemed stagnant today can be unlocked. What has been stagnant for years can begin to flow when you truly say yes. Waiting leads nowhere if it is not accompanied by practical faith. And practical faith begins with an attitude. With an answer. With a decision. Don't wait until everything is perfect. Because perfection will never come. But my grace will be with you every step of the way if you choose to follow me. If this word touched your heart, share it now with someone who also needs to wake up. You can be the channel that God uses to awaken others who are still living as if nothing is happening. You can be the trumpet that announces, the time has changed. The time has come. This is no longer the time to sit still. The Spirit is calling. And those who respond with faith will see the impossible happen. What you choose today will define much more than you imagine. This is the kind of moment that is not easily repeated. One cycle closes and another begins. But anyone who doesn't take a stand will waste the visit's time. Don't be one more who listened and let it go. Be the one who listened and acted. Who felt and responded. Who was touched and stood up. I called you for this. And now it's your turn to respond. Do you remember that night when you went to sleep with a heavy heart, not knowing if you had the strength to continue? That moment when everything seemed dark, when you wondered if anyone saw what you were facing. I saw. I was there. Every tear that fell in the silence, every thought that crossed your mind asking for help, every time you tried to appear strong in front of others, but inside you were falling apart. I told you everything. And I did not allow any of your pain to be in vain. No suffering escaped my gaze. No disappointment went unnoticed by me. When everyone thought you were fine, I saw the weight you carried inside. When you disguised it with smiles, I heard the cries of your soul. And although at times I felt alone, I want you to know, I never left you. I was your refuge when the world seemed to collapse around you. I was your strength when you thought you couldn't take it anymore. You went through pain you couldn't explain. He suffered rejections that hurt his identity. He heard words that left deep marks. There were days when the ground seemed to disappear, when everything you believed in seemed to crumble. But what you didn't see was that at that very moment it was shaping you. While you cried, I strengthened you. While you walked without understanding, I built a path under your feet. No tears were wasted. Each one of them watered the promise that is now about to bloom. I allowed certain breakups because there were connections that prevented you from growing. I closed doors because what was behind them was not part of the future I prepared for you. I pushed people away because they didn't see who you really were, and I didn't allow your identity to be defined by the hurts of others. I saw when you were discredited. When they laughed at your faith. When they doubted your delivery. But I also saw when you continued praying, even without strength. When you chose to trust, even without understanding. Now is the time for transition. What seemed stagnant will begin to move. What seemed buried will rise again. The dreams you thought you had lost, I kept. And now I am bringing to light what was hidden, but never forgotten. Something big is brewing around you. You can't see it yet, but inside you already feel it. You feel that something is different. That there is a new atmosphere. That a change is coming. And that is not imagination. It is my spirit preparing you to live what was promised. The impossible is beginning to give signs. Not because everything around you has changed, but because something within you has aligned. When faith finds the right moment, the sky moves. And you are at that point. You have reached the time where pain becomes strength, where wounds become marks of victory, where what afflicted you becomes a testimony of my faithfulness. But an answer is needed. Positioning is needed. Because what I have for you will not be delivered into the hands of those who only wait. It will be revealed to those who trust and stand up. You don't need to understand all the reasons. Just trust that everything you've been through has prepared you for what's to come. No process was random. No delay was a coincidence. I am positioning you for something that goes beyond your expectations. So don't go back. Don't sabotage yourself with doubts. Don't give up now. You didn't go through all this in vain. It's closer than ever. The time of shame is coming to an end. The time of promise is approaching. If you want to continue receiving messages like this video and subscribe to the channel now. This is more than a gesture. It is a declaration that you are willing to continue listening to my voice, that you want to walk with me every step of the way, that your faith is alive. For he who walks with me walks in revelation. And what is to come will be so great that even those who criticized you will know that it was I who supported you. You are living proof that I care, that I see, that I restore. And now the time has come to live no longer on the memories of the past, but on the promises that are about to be fulfilled. Take a deep breath. This is the moment when everything starts to make sense. The moment where every pain becomes purpose. And where the impossible begins to reveal itself before your eyes. Before every miracle that transformed history, there was an instruction. Before the rain covered the earth, I told Noah to build the ark. Before famine struck Egypt, I revealed to Joseph what he must do to preserve an entire nation. Before the Red Sea parted, I asked Moses to raise his staff. Before acting with power, I always speak with direction. Because I am a God of promises, but I am also a God of principles. I don't just do it. Teaching. Guide. I call for preparation. Because only those who respect the order of heaven reap the supernatural. You have been praying, crying out, asking for signs. And today I show you something that many ignore: obedience precedes manifestation. Fulfilling the promise begins with your response. Don't wait for the heavens to break while you remain inert. I do not pour out the new in hearts that resist the call. I move everything around those who move in faith. And true faith does not wait to see before acting. She answers even without understanding everything. Because you know who is talking. How many times have you asked me to change your story, but hesitated when I gave you simple instructions? How many times have you cried out for provision, but clung to control, to fear, to human logic? I am not limited by your calculations. Your resources do not hinder me. I operate in the impossible, but I work with the obedient. Those who understand that my time demands action, not just waiting. The time of the promise is not a passive time. It is a moment of active response, of alignment, of decision. The great works that you know from my word were not only the result of silent faith, but of bold actions. Noah began to build without seeing a drop of rain. Joseph began storing when people still lived in abundance. Moses raised his staff in front of a closed sea, while they pursued him. They trusted me before seeing the proof. They did not wait for the signs to confirm it. The signs came because they obeyed. This is the difference between those who experience the extraordinary and those who only hear about it. Many know the promises, but few live their fulfillment. Because few are willing to walk by true faith. The faith that demands renunciation. That takes courage. That requires leaving the place. I have not called you to a life of empty expectations, but to a path of obedient faith. I am posting instructions. I'm pointing the way. But you must decide if you are going to simply listen or if you are going to respond. Don't be fooled into thinking that everything will come just because you believe in silence. There are times when faith manifests itself with the lifting of a stick, with the building of an ark, with the decision to store grain when everything seems fine. There are times when faith is revealed through obedience to something that no one understands. And this is exactly how I act. I use the humble, the available, the ones who do not question the command. Those who obey because they know who is speaking. What I am about to release into your life is not small. But you need structure. You need a base. And the foundation begins with obedience. Many want miracles but reject instructions. They want their promises to be kept, but they avoid lawsuits. I do not deliver destinies into unstable hands. I reveal promises to those who honor my leading. If you listen to me but don't follow me, you just accumulate words without activation. But if you listen to me and move, then you are prepared to see what others only dream of. You don't have to be perfect to obey. You need to be willing. Because it wasn't perfection that got Noah started. It was the mood. It was not experience that made Joseph govern. It was fidelity. It was not strength that made Moses win. It was trust. Obedience opens doors that prayer alone cannot. And there are doors before you that will only respond to that kind of faith. He who listens, gets up and acts. Even when everything seems the same. Even when no one understands it. Even when the skies still seem silent. I'm breaking cycles about your life. I'm undoing invisible ties. I'm taking you to a new station. But you must respond with steps. It is not enough to believe. You need to obey. And obedience begins in the invisible, in the secret, in the small. It starts when you say yes to something that not everyone will understand. But I understand it. I see. I honor him. And it is this yes that changes the course of your story. You can't imagine how much has already lined up around you just because you are hearing this message now. But this is only the first part. There is still more to reveal. More to activate. More brand new. But before we talk about what is to come, I need you to understand this truth. The faith that transforms is not the one that waits for the miracle to come, but the one that moves before it happens. I am calling you to walk on this level. I am calling you to live by this standard. I call you to obey even without seeing it, because when you obey, heaven responds. And when heaven answers, nothing will be able to stop what I have already determined for you. You've been asking me for answers. You've been looking for direction. He has been crying out for a change, for a demonstration, for a sign. But now that I'm talking, are you really willing to listen? Because many ask me to speak, but when I reveal the way to them, they resist. Many say they want my will, but are not willing to follow it when it demands resignation. But I cannot reveal anything new about those who are still attached to what I already asked them to leave behind. It's not just about wanting the promise. It's about being prepared to go through it. The difference between those who experience satisfaction and those who simply wait is in the answer. The promise does not come to those who only ask for it, but to those who obey. And today, once again, I ask you, do you hear my voice? Are you paying attention to what I'm saying? Or are you so caught up in your own thoughts that you can no longer discern what is divine guidance and what is human confusion? I am not a God of confusion. When I speak, I give clarity. But this clarity will not come as long as you continue to filter everything only through your understanding. I speak to the heart, to the spirit, to the soul. And to listen deeply, you need to silence the distractions, the fear, the logic of the world. My voice does not mix with the noise of the race. It is revealed in the rest of the trust. And if you want to live what you have been prepared for, you need to listen to me with an open heart. You have prayed for direction but have been avoiding making decisions. You asked for progress, but you keep going around in circles. You want answers, but you ignore the instructions I've already given you. How can I deliver something new if they haven't responded to what has already been revealed? My son, my daughter, I speak clearly. But many do not listen because they expect me to confirm to them what they have already decided for themselves. But I am not a reinforcement for your plans. I am the author of the purpose. And whoever walks with me needs to be willing to follow me, even without understanding all the details. I didn't promise you tranquility, but I did promise you presence. I did not promise a path without struggle, but I guaranteed victory to those who trust. And now I call you to leave the place of hesitation. Doubt has robbed you of your strength. Indecision has slowed your steps. Fear has silenced your faith. But today I give life to your courage. I declare freedom over your mind. I break the invisible ties that prevent you from positioning yourself. Because you are called to obey before you see, to walk before you understand, to trust before you touch. Time will not wait for you to feel ready. The sky is moving now. And those who don't fall in line are left behind. Not because of punishment, but because they preferred the comfort of control to the risk of faith. But if you listen to me today, if you rise in response to my voice, then you will see doors open where before there were only walls. Because I am still the God who opens paths in the desert, who draws water from the rock, who stops the sun, who turns valleys into bridges. You don't need to know how everything will happen. You just need to trust who guides you. I am the God who began the good work in you, and I myself will complete it. But I need your answer. I need you to say, I am here. May you choose to obey, even if the circumstances continue to seem the same. Because when you listen to me and respond, the invisible begins to manifest. If you are hearing my voice now and want to declare that you are ready to obey, comment 7777. This number will be like a prophetic act, a spiritual mark that your heart is aligned with heaven. It's not just a comment. It's an answer. It's a positioning. It's His way of saying, Lord, I hear you. Lord, I trust. Lord, I'm moving. They have called you for more. He was chosen to live beyond the obvious. And now is the time to take a stand, leaving the surface and diving into the depths. Because whoever immerses himself in me never returns empty. There are deep waters waiting for you. There are hidden promises that will only open when you take the step of faith that I have been asking of you for so long. I'm with you. And if you listen to me, if you respond, you will experience what the eyes did not see, what the ears did not hear, and what never reached the human heart, but that I prepared especially for those who love me. Right now something is happening in the spirit world. I am separating those who choose to trust even without seeing, from those who still live based solely on what their natural eyes see. This separation is not visible to human eyes, but it is real. And it's happening now. I am marking the hearts that remain sensitive to my voice, even when the world tries to silence faith. I call those who do not bow down to circumstances, but stand firm in the promise, even without understanding everything. In the days of Noah, I spoke. I gave signs. I gave it some time. I sent a clear instruction. But many laughed, ignored him, and continued with their lives as if nothing was going to happen. They waited until they felt the first drops of rain to believe it. But when they realized it was real, the door of the ark was already closed. I do not speak without purpose. And when I speak, it is because something is about to be fulfilled. This is one of those moments. The time of opportunities is passing before your eyes. And those who are not attentive will regret not having responded when it was time. But you still have time. There is still a chance to respond. There is still room for the yes that can change your story. What I want most is for you to be among those who advance, among those who trust, among those who obey even before they are fulfilled. For he who listens to me and obeys me will never be put to shame. I am faithful to my word. I keep all the promises. But I give it only to those who are willing to receive it with spiritual responsibility. Don't let doubt take you out of the right moment. Don't let the apparent delay rob you of your sensitivity. The sky is moving. I'm acting. Even if you don't see it yet, my hand is setting the stage. But only those who trust in the face of evidence remain standing. And only those who answer my call walk on water, even when the sea is still rough. If you think this word is urgent, share it now with someone who needs to hear it. There are people around you who live as if nothing had happened, but time is changing. And you can be the trumpet that awakens. You can be the bridge that leads someone to hear my voice. You can be the answer for someone who is one step away from wasting their visitor's time. I called you to be part of the group of those who trust. Of those who obey. Of those who don't wait to see to believe. And if you are listening to this now, it is because you still have time to say, I choose to trust. There is still time to align. But don't put it off any longer. Because whoever is attentive to my voice will see the fulfillment. Those who ignore it will see what they could have experienced with their own hands flash before their eyes. Choose today. Choose now. Because the separation has already begun. There is something that needs to be in your house. An element that, since ancient times, has carried a deep spiritual weight. I speak of consecrated oil. It is not just any oil. It is not a mystical object. It is a living symbol of my presence, my protection, my separation. I have always used oil to mark those who have been chosen, separated, prepared for something greater. Kings, prophets, priests, they all passed through the touch of anointing before fulfilling their calling. And today I invite you to bring this principle to your home. This is not a ritual. It's an act of faith. When you anoint your home, you are spiritually declaring that that territory belongs to me. He is saying, Lord, this place is your refuge, your sanctuary, your home. You are inviting me to live where before there was only routine. You are consecrating every environment to my care. Because where my presence is welcome, there is no place for darkness. Where I am honest, chaos does not prevail. I call you to use oil as the ancients used it. Mark doors, beds, windows, objects, not as superstition, but as a declaration of alliance. The anointing is not in the vessel. It is in obedience. In the heart that believes. In the prophetic act of those who say, here only the presence of God has authority. And when you anoint, you are raising a spiritual standard that separates your home from the ordinary. You are protecting, sealing, shielding everything yours with my name. I saw how much you have fought for peace within your home. I saw the nights of conflict, the heavy days, the charged environments that leave you helpless. And I tell you, there are things that will only dissipate when you rise up in faith and take a spiritual stance. The anointing brings restoration. Bring healing. Bring liberation. When a home is consecrated, it becomes a resting place for the soul, not a battlefield. And that is what I want to do with you, transform your home into a place of communion, where my presence is felt and honored. You may even think that you don't know how to do it, that you are not worthy, that you do not have the necessary preparation. But I don't call those who are ready. I call those available. And if you are willing to stand up and consecrate your space, I will be there. Because when you honor me with acts of faith, I respond with manifestations of my glory. And oil will be just the beginning of a new era. Remember when I asked Samuel to anoint David? He was the smallest, the forgotten, the unlikely. But when the oil touched his head, heaven released what was held back. The anointing activated what was hidden. The same thing could happen to you. It can happen inside your home. You just have to believe. You just need to act. There are territories that are being taken spiritually, but I give you the authority to mark what is yours with my presence. You don't have to accept what is disorganized. You can stand up and declare, here God reigns. If you've never done this before, I'll teach you. Separate an oil, present it in prayer. Declare that it will be a symbol of my presence and protection. And then, start anointing the rooms of your house. Pray as you anoint. Declare life. Declare peace. Declare release. Do it with faith. Do this with fear. Do this with understanding. Because this act will be seen in the spiritual world. And the heavens will respond. If you want to continue receiving revelations like this and walk with me on this path of consecration, like this video and subscribe to the channel now. This is more than commitment. It is a spiritual response. It is His way of saying, Lord, I am ready to go deeper. When you connect with what comes from heaven, you make space for heaven to manifest in your life. The consecrated oil is only the first element. There is still more to reveal. But it all begins with this gesture, a heart that chooses to honor my presence. And when you honor me, I manifest myself. When you give me space, I transform everything around me. Your home will no longer be the same. Your environment will carry the atmosphere of heaven. Because where there is anointing, there is life. Where there is anointing, there is deliverance. Where there is anointing, there are miracles. Prepare. This is just the beginning. There is a river that never dries up. A source that never fails. A water that not only quenches thirst, but renews the soul, purifies the mind and restores the heart. This water is me. This fountain is my living presence, flowing over all who return to me thirsting for something deeper. From the beginning, water was one of the most powerful elements that I used to separate, purify, and start again. When the world became corrupted, I used water to cleanse the earth and restart the story with Noah. When my people were trapped in Egypt, I opened the waters to free them and make way for the promise. And today I continue to do this, separating the past from the future through the living water that flows from my presence. Water represents my word. And whoever moves away from him becomes dry inside. Many are spiritually exhausted because they have distanced themselves from the source. They try to satisfy themselves with things that do not nourish them. They look for in human voices what can only be found in my voice. They look for answers in the noise, when all they need is to return to the silence where I speak. I am the living water. And whoever drinks from me will never thirst again. This is what my son said to the Samaritan woman: whoever drinks the water of this world will thirst again, but whoever drinks the water that I give will be satisfied forever. You have felt a void that you cannot explain. A slight but constant anguish. A tiredness that does not seem to disappear even with physical rest. This is the thirst of the soul. And there is only one solution: go back to the source. Return to my word. Return to the secret place where your soul finds refreshment. Because no achievement will fill that space. No relationship will cure this inner dryness. Only my presence can make what has become arid inside you flourish again. Don't ignore that thirst. She is an invitation. It is a sign that the time has come to purify you, to cleanse you of the dust of the road, to let me wash away every thought, every memory, every weight you have been carrying. There are waters of renewal available to you. And they are not very far away. They flow when you stop and look for me. They go down when you give up. When you recognize, Lord, I need your source. Water restores what was contaminated. Renew what was tired. Give life to what was dry. And today I call you to dive again. Abandon the superficial. Leave the surface and enter the depth of my presence. Because it is in this immersion where I speak. It is in this immersion where I cleanse myself. It is in this immersion that I transform. Don't be afraid. I am the source. And I'm ready to renew you. The third element that should be in your home is bread. It is not ordinary bread, made only with flour and yeast. But the bread represents something much greater: my provision, my sustenance, my faithfulness. From the beginning I have supported those who trust me. When my people walked through the desert, I did not let them lack anything. Every day he rained manna from heaven, one loaf of bread daily, exact and sufficient. And just like then, today I continue to care for those who choose to depend on my hand. But there is a detail that many forget: the manna was not accumulated. He was daily. I wanted my people to learn to trust me every day, and not just in times of need. I wanted them to understand that my loyalty does not fail, even when everything seems meager. And today I continue waiting for hearts that trust in my daily care. Because he who walks with me does not live on reserves, he lives on relationships. Security is in me, not in resources. It is in my word, not in human calculations. You've been worried about tomorrow. You've been reviewing your bills, your responsibilities, your needs, and many times you feel overwhelmed. But I tell you, if I feed the birds of the air and dress the lilies of the field more beautifully than Solomon in all his glory, how much more will I care for you? You are not a number. You are my son, my daughter, heir of the promise. You don't need to be anxious. You need to walk in faith. Because provision comes when trust is greater than fear. Bread was also what my son broke at the Last Supper. He said, "This is my body, which is given for you." Bread became a symbol of the new covenant. Of an eternal commitment between heaven and those who believe. When you receive my bread, you are saying, "Lord, I depend on you. You are my sustenance." And it is in this place of dependence where I manifest myself abundantly. Because I do not ignore those who recognize that without me they can do nothing. There are many who are full of body but empty of soul. They feed on everything except my presence. They run after material bread, but they forgot that there is bread that came down from heaven and that gives eternal life. I am that bread. And he who feeds on me is not lost. Whoever feeds on me finds direction, strength, balance, peace. You need more than money, more than answers, more than achievements. You need the living bread that comes down from heaven and feeds your spirit every day. And that bread is available to you. Not once a week, not on special occasions, but every day. Every morning you wake up, there is a portion prepared. A liberated word. Sustenance that comes directly from my throne. Just search. Just reach out with faith. Because I am the God who never fails and always arrives at the right time. Not your way, but the way you really need it. I know your needs before you even speak. And I'm already working on every detail. If you have felt a void, a hunger that nothing in this world can satisfy, it is because the time has come to return to me. Return to the source. Go back to the table. Let's go back to the bread. Don't let the rush of life rob you of what is essential. You can have it all, but if you do not have my presence, you will still be hungry. But if you have me, even in the desert, you will have peace. Even in scarcity, you will see miracles. Even in war you will rest. Because those who feed on me do not allow themselves to be shaken by circumstances. If this word is feeding your soul, enjoy this video now as a form of gratitude. Because every time you connect with my voice, I feed you again. Every time you look for me, I answer. Every time you make space, I fill it. And there is still more to reveal. There is still more to publish. But it all starts with this recognition: real bread is not on the shelves of the world. It is on the table I prepare, day after day, for those who choose to trust. Receive this bread. He is for you. The fourth element that must be present in your home is salt. A simple ingredient to human eyes, but one that carries deep spiritual value. Salt, for me, has always been a symbol of alliance. A visible mark of commitment, purity, consecration, and preservation. Since ancient times I have used salt to form eternal pacts with those who serve me. It was used in offerings, sacrifices, and temple rituals. Because salt not only seasoning, but also preserving. Prevent corruption from spreading. And just as salt acts on matter, my presence acts on the spirit. You were called to be salt of the earth. This means that your life must carry my essence wherever you go. May your presence purify environments, transform atmospheres, interrupt cycles of destruction. But many have forgotten it. They let the world take away their flavor. His convictions were diluted. Their truths were relativized. And that is why they live as if there were no difference between the sacred and the common. But today I call mine again. Back to the essence. Back to the alliance. I invite you to bring salt into your home, not just as an object, but as a living reminder of who you are in me. Separate a handful. Pray for it. Consecrate it as a symbol of your alliance with me. And then, use it with faith. Declare over your home, here is holiness. Here is separation. Here evil does not prevail. Just as the prophet Elisha used salt to purify the waters of a polluted city, you too can use this principle to purify environments where there is oppression, conflict, and spiritual fatigue. Because when you act in faith, the sky moves in response. There are houses that are suffering from the lack of consecration. Families facing spiritual battles because they have forgotten the value of the covenant. And today I reveal it to you so that something new can begin. The alliance with heaven must be visible, intentional, constant. It is not about religiosity, but about spiritual identity. You are not called to live like everyone else. I was separated. He was elected. He was anointed. And the salt will remind you of it every time you look at it. Just as fire does not destroy salt, so time does not corrupt the pact made with me. But it is necessary to take a stand. Declare with attitude who you serve. May you consecrate what is yours to my name. I want your house to be marked. May your life be a territory where the enemy does not have access. And this begins when you understand that alliance is not just something you feel, but something you live. Something that is honored. Holiness is still the way. Purity remains key. And salt represents this commitment. Commitment to the eternal. Commitment to the truth. commitment to light. I am restoring that understanding. Raise sons and daughters who are not afraid to take a stand, who prefer to be faithful to me than accepted by men, who live for heaven even when the world tries to confuse. You are part of this. You were called to live like this. If this word opened your eyes, share it now with someone who needs to hear it. There are people who are being lost due to lack of understanding. Houses that are being oppressed for ignoring spiritual principles that should never have been abandoned. Be a restoration channel. Be the voice that alerts with love. Be the bridge that brings others back to the alliance. I'm separating those that are mine. And you are part of this generation that carries the essence of heaven on earth. Who walks in holiness, who lives with purpose, who does not allow himself to be contaminated by what is temporary. The salt returns to your house. And with him the alliance will be strengthened. Protection will be activated. The presence will be noted. Prepare. More revelations are coming. And each of them will bring you closer to the purpose that I prepared for your life. You were called to be different. They are not differentiated by appearance, by title, or by recognition, but different in essence. For carrying within you that which is not negotiated, which is not mixed, which is not contaminated with the standards of this world. When I said you are the salt of the earth, it wasn't just a nice metaphor. It was a declaration of identity. Salt has flavor. It has a purpose. It has conservation power. But when it loses its flavor, it is no longer useful. And there are many who started with intensity, but lost their flavor along the way. They changed the essence for the appearance. Depth through acceptance. Holiness for convenience. I didn't create you for this. I called you to keep my presence alive in the midst of a world that insists on turning off the light. You are the one who was set apart to influence, not to be influenced. He was anointed to keep what is pure and not to accept what is corrupt. But to preserve the flavor, you must remember who you are. And most importantly, remember who I am in you. Because when you walk away from me, you lose what sets you apart. But when you remain in me, your life becomes a bridge between heaven and earth. There are many who are mixing it. They call evil good. They justify the error with sophisticated arguments. They adapt to everything so as not to lose people, spaces, or status. But I have called you to be fair. Be complete. Carry a truth that does not change, even if the entire world changes around you. I'm raising up those who don't sell out. Those who do not bow to fear, culture, pressure. Those who would rather lose the applause of the world than compromise the anointing they received. It is not easy to be salt in a tasteless earth. Sometimes this will mean walking against the crowd. It will cost relationships. It will provoke criticism. But it's worth it. Because whoever stands firm with me will be supported, promoted, maintained. I honor those who honor me. And those who are not ashamed of me before men, I will not be ashamed before the Father. There are rewards reserved for the faithful. For those who stood while everyone else fell. For those who kept the faith even when it seemed easier to abandon it. You are not alone. It may seem like it, but it is not. There is a generation that I am raising, in silence, behind the scenes, in deserts, in closed rooms. People who are being treated, molded, purified. People who will be raised with authority, not for fame, but for loyalty. And you are part of it. You are one of those that I have prepared far from the spotlight, but that will shine when the time comes. And that moment is closer than you think. Your difference is not a burden. It's a purpose. What makes you seem strange now will be the reason why many will seek you out later. Because when the darkness grows, the true lights will shine. And I'm turning on something inside you that can't be turned off. But for this it is necessary to position oneself. You have to decide if you are going to keep trying to please everyone or if you are going to live to please me above all else. The world needs your difference. Your generation needs your positioning. Heaven is counting on your yes. If you want to continue feeding yourself with messages that strengthen your faith and reaffirm who you are in me, subscribe to this channel now. This is a way to stay connected to the truth, to remain firm in the midst of so much noise, to not let the flame go out. It's more than a click. It is a step of alliance, continuity, of firmness. I am restoring your identity, reminding you that you are called to make a difference. And every time you choose me, even in silence, the sky moves in your favor. Continue. Don't give up. Don't negotiate your essence. Because I'm with you. And those who walk with me never walk in vain. Now that I have revealed to you the 4 elements, now that I have shown you the oil of consecration, the water of renewal, the bread of provision and the salt of the covenant, I ask you, what are you going to do with this revelation? Because many hear my voice, feel the touch of my presence, receive clear direction, but still do not move. They live accumulating promises, storing words, collecting signs, and they continue standing still, waiting for an ideal moment that never arrives. But it is no longer a time for contemplation. The time has come to make a decision. You can't just keep collecting what I say and not respond with what I expect. Every instruction I give is an invitation to something greater, but it only becomes a reality in the lives of those who take a stand. And this is the point that separates those who live profound experiences from those who simply see the miracle happen in the lives of others. I am the same God for everyone, but I do not manifest myself in the same way for everyone. I reveal myself more intensely to those who show more dedication, more faith, more will. This is no longer the time to doubt. Indecision has silenced many promises. It has left people trapped between what they feel and what they do, between what they know and what they live. But those who live indecisive do not build anything lasting. I do not call the undecided to great works. I call on those who trust. Those who choose to believe rather than understand. Those who assume that it is no longer possible to live anyway. They recognize it, either I submerge definitively or I continue drowning on the surface of what does not transform. I revealed the 4 elements to you for a reason. So that you had spiritual tools in your hands to overcome this time. It was not a teaching. It was a summons. A preparation for what is to come. And what is to come requires more than passivity. It will require maturity. It will require practical faith. It will require spiritual action. It will not be enough to know it. It will be necessary to do so. And that is why I urge you. Because I know how much I invested in you. I know how much I separated you, kept you, freed you from traps that you didn't even notice. I didn't do this by chance. I did it because you have a purpose that must manifest. But I can't decide for you. I can talk, but you must respond. I can reveal it, but you must act. I can prepare, but you need to walk. I already said what was necessary. Now is the time for your decision. Revelation demands a response. Heaven awaits an attitude. Because there are moments that mark destiny, and this is one of them. You are not hearing this message by chance. This is the time that separates before from after. Visiting time is approaching its limit. There are cycles that end. There are seasons that change. And those who ignore this moment will realize too late what they missed. Just as in the days of Noah, many continued to live as if nothing was about to happen. They ate, they drank, they worked, they dreamed, until the greeting came and caught them off guard. Don't be like them. You have been warned. He was instructed. He was called. And now you need to position yourself. Because whoever takes a position sees. Whoever answers receives. He who obeys tries. Your response today can unlock what you've been holding back for years. It can break chains that were invisible, but real. It can activate a new phase in your spiritual, family and emotional history. I'm ready. The sky is ready. But what about you? Are you going to listen one more time, or are you really going to stand up? Will you continue to postpone or act as if you understand that you are facing a heavenly summons? The choice is in your hands. Because now that I've given you instructions, I can't walk for you. But if you take the first step, I will be with you in each of the next. Take a deep breath. Feel within you the weight of what is being released. Realize that it is not just a word. It is an address. It's a calling. It's one last chance before the weather changes again. There is still more to reveal to you. But first I need your answer. And she can't wait any longer. Time doesn't stop. And those who move now align themselves with what is to come. Whoever doubts, loses. But he who obeys, enters. Are you listening? So get ready. What comes next will only be revealed to those who respond now. Always warn before acting. I always send signals, alerts, words. I never make a judgment without first giving direction. I never achieve change without first preparing the hearts of those I want to protect. But the truth is that many do not take the moment of opportunity seriously. They think that there will always be a new opportunity, a new moment, a new word. But there comes a point where the preparation time ends and what was prophesied begins to be fulfilled. In the days of Noah, my voice resounded. I gave instructions, I ordered the construction of the ark, I announced what was to come. But most chose to laugh, mock and ignore. They waited until they felt the first drops of rain to believe it. And when they finally understood that it was real, the door was already closed. It was already late. I took a break. Say opportunities. But I can't wait indefinitely for someone who insists on not taking me seriously. The same thing happened to Lot's wife. She clearly heard the order, don't look back. But halfway there, your soul was still trapped with what I had already left behind. He looked back and stayed there. Not because I wanted her to be lost, but because she was unable to break with what I had already declared closed. There are many people who live paralyzed because they continue looking at what I already asked them to leave behind. Attached to feelings, cycles, people, places that are no longer part of the purpose. And when they look back, they miss what I'm doing now. I am a God of mercy, but I am also a God of times. Whoever listens to me and responds to me at the right time reaps life, reaps liberation, reaps promise. But those who repeatedly ignore my call end up reaping the consequences of their own indifference. Not by punishment, but by choice. Time does not wait. And the harvest will always come according to the seed sown. Have you sown sensitivity or resistance? Have you been sowing faith or postponement? I know how many times I've talked to you. I know how many commits I have already sent. I know how many messages came to you at the right time. And yet, you hesitated. You postponed it. You thought you could wait a little longer. But now I tell you with love and firmness, how many more confirmations do you need? How long will you resist what is already clear? Doubt only remains when the heart refuses to believe. But deep down you already know it. You know it was me who spoke. You know this word is for you. You know the climate is changing. And you know you can't ignore it anymore. I'm calling you for a breakup. For a step that will change everything. For a delivery that you have been putting off, but that is the key to your next level. You can no longer play with the holy. You can't pretend it's not about you anymore. This is a serious call. A word of alignment. A wake-up call for your soul. You were not created to go around in circles. It was created to manifest my glory on earth. But this will only be possible if you obey me. If this word burns inside you, comment now, I am ready. This will be more than a sentence. It will be a spiritual response. A declaration that you will no longer delay, no longer resist, no longer ignore. May you be ready to live what I prepared. May I be willing to leave the past in the past, and move towards the new thing that I am releasing. Comment like someone who takes a stand. As someone who listens and responds. As someone who knows this could be the turning point they prayed so hard to experience. I'm still here. I'm still talking. I'm still calling. But the door won't stay open forever. Get in while there's still time. Listen while there is still a voice. Walk while it's still light. Because when heaven speaks, the earth must respond. And you were called to be the answer. Your answer today could lead to the best time of your life. But it must be sincere, brave, immediate. I'm waiting for you. And what comes after your decision will be much greater than what you are leaving behind. Faith is not waiting to see to believe. Faith moves even when nothing around you confirms what was promised. It's trusting my voice more than the circumstances. It is obeying my instructions even when it seems crazy to natural eyes. This is the faith that touches the sky. The faith that activates the promises. The faith that transforms destinies. And it is this faith that I seek in you now. I have already revealed the way to you. I already showed you the signs. I have already posted clear instructions. From my side there is nothing left. Now it's your turn to respond. Because each revelation requires a corresponding action. What stops you today is not a lack of direction, it is a lack of decision. It is not the absence of promise, it is the absence of movement. And if you want to experience something new, you need to wake up with a faith that walks before it sees. Look at those who walked with me before you. Abraham left his land without knowing where he was going, just because he heard my voice. It had no map, no guarantees, no structure. But he had a promise. And moved by the promise, he became the father of multitudes. Moses touched the sea before it parted. Joshua walked in silence before the walls of Jericho fell. David faced a giant with a rock while everyone looked on in fear. They did not wait for external signs. They believed what I said. And that was enough to change his story. And it will change yours too. You already know what you have to do. You know what I asked for. You already know which door to close, what step to take, what attitude to take. But he is waiting for the scenario to change and only then he can act. And I tell you, the scenario will only change after you move. Because true faith does not require security. It requires trust. I am your security. I am the foundation on which you can step. Although it seems risky, if I ordered it, then you are on solid ground. Obedience activates my protection. Bring provision where there was scarcity. Attract my presence where before there was emptiness. With every step you take towards me, I get even closer to you. And where I am, nothing remains as before. Your obedience could be the missing link to unlocking everything you've been praying for so long. But if you don't move, you will continue to accumulate unfulfilled words. Not because I didn't keep my promise, but because I didn't respond. Faith that does not transform into attitude is only expectation. And expectation without action turns into frustration. How many times have you experienced this? Did you feel like something was close, but it didn't happen? Did you notice the presence, but didn't move forward? Did you hear the voice but didn't get up? Don't let this happen again. Don't let your faith die in intention. Turn it into an impulse. A jump. A step into the unknown, knowing that I am waiting for you on the other side. You have been praying for a change. Call for breakup. I wanted to experience something different. But now we must act. You need to leave the place where fear has imprisoned you. It is necessary to abandon the comfort of stagnation. You have to stand up as someone who believes more in what I said than what your eyes can see. Because what I have prepared for you is beyond your natural reach. It is only accessed by faith. If this word strengthened your faith and reminded you that heaven awaits your action, enjoy this video now as an answer. It's not just a gesture, it's a symbol that you are awakening. That you understood time. May your faith be alive, active, ready to take you where I want to take you. There are doors waiting for your obedience. There are heavens ready to open when you take the first step. There are miracles for those who walk by faith. And today, more than ever, I call you to trust. Not with words, but with actions. With actions that reveal what you believe. What do you believe even without seeing? And that you are ready to walk where only faith can sustain you. You don't need everything to be resolved. You just need to believe. And he who believes, moves. He who believes, rises. He who believes, obeys. And whoever obeys, sees my glory manifested in every detail. I'm with you. And if you take the first step, you will see that you have never walked alone. Time moves forward. Every second that passes brings me closer to the fulfillment of what I have released. But it also shortens the space between promise and judgment. Because where there is revelation, there is responsibility. And whoever has heard my voice can no longer pretend that they don't know what to do. I am calling those who not only listen, but obey. Those who understand that it is not a time for passivity, but for positioning. Those who do not wait for the scenario to change to believe, but believe until the scenario changes. Everything you've heard so far hasn't been a motivational speech. It was a spiritual calling. It was a direct call from heaven to his soul. I didn't bring you here just to get you excited. I brought you to awaken something inside you that was dormant. To rekindle the faith that time tried to erase. Restore the purpose that the battles tried to stifle. Because I still count on you. I still have plans with your name. I still desire to use you as a channel of glory in this generation. It doesn't matter how many times you stopped. It doesn't matter how many failures marked your career. What defines what is to come is not what is left behind, it is what you choose to do now. Because I specialize in new beginnings. And every time you look for me, I give you a new opportunity to walk in line with what I planned. But we must understand, the time for indecision is running out. There will be no more space to walk between two thoughts. Either you truly surrender or you will continue to live only fragments of what could be fullness. There is an invisible movement happening right now. Heaven is realigning destinies. I am opening paths where before there were only blocks. I'm removing obstacles you didn't even know existed. I am preparing people, places, resources. I am positioning you spiritually for something that is beyond your natural capacity. But all this depends on your delivery. It depends on your perseverance. It depends on your will not only to start, but to stay. Because it is not difficult to take the first step. The challenge is to remain faithful after the enthusiasm. To remain firm when the emotion passes. In remembering that my word does not change, even when emotions fluctuate. Therefore, I want you to remember everything that has been said so far. May you carry every principle, every direction, every revelation as a treasure. Because the enemy will try to steal. Distractions will try to dilute it. But whoever protects what he receives, lives what was promised. I didn't give you all this by chance. It was because you are ready. Even if you don't feel capable. Although there are still fears, doubts, insecurities. I know you better than anyone. And I know that deep in your heart there is a thirst to obey me. There is a desire to live what is prophesied. There is a longing for something real. And it is with this heart that I will work. That I will shape it. I'll use that. Because I don't reject sincere hearts. I strengthen them. I lift them up. I send them. You are not alone. I have been here for every part of this process. At every instruction, I whispered hope. In every silence he was preparing something bigger. And now, as you breathe and feel this atmosphere around you change, know that this is just the beginning. The beginning of a new time. The beginning of a harvest. The beginning of a life that will no longer be guided by doubt, but by obedience. And everything that seemed distant before will begin to manifest with clarity, strength, and continuity. Now you know. You've already heard it. You already understand it. The question is, what will you do with all this? Will you keep it in your heart or respond with actions? Will you let this movement go unnoticed, or will you carry this presence wherever you go? Because I didn't call you to live moments. I called you to live a covenant life. A continuous cycle of listening and responding. Of revelation and obedience. Of intimacy and manifestation. What begins today does not end. It becomes part of who you are in me. Take a deep breath, something powerful is about to happen. Breathe deeply. Let your heart be touched by this moment. There's something going on inside of you that you might not yet be able to describe. You sense as though something is going to happen, but you're not sure what it is yet. It's similar to a quiet restlessness. It's not a case of anxiousness. It's not a fear. Heaven's touch is attempting to draw your attention. I'm present. I was the one who introduced you to this message. You're not here by accident. Every action, every occurrence, even the setbacks and annoyances, were all a part of the journey I took. Because I need to tell you something urgently today. Everything has its own time, and the period of time you are currently in is not just a typical one. The moment is prophetic. A moment of remarkable manifestation where the natural and the supernatural collide. You shouldn't spend this time, in my opinion. This is something you have experienced. When everything looks to be tranquil, a restlessness arises. An irritation that, for some reason, causes you to gaze up. My presence is beckoning to you. Heaven forewarns you. Because I'm going to do something big. It won't be typical. But I talk before I do. I warn you before you move. I get ready before I turn. And I'm now getting you ready for it. Perhaps you've had the feeling that something is about to happen, that a promise is there but hasn't been revealed yet. There is, in fact. But I always call before the demonstration. Just one word. An indication. And now is the time. The moment has come for you to align yourself with what I am going to accomplish, which is why you are listening to me now. And you could miss everything I've worked so hard to prepare if you disregard this call. Above you, a window is open. An exceptional chance. Only those with receptive spiritual ears will be able to detect this unseen movement. Those who listen to me realize that the sky is shifting, while many others live their lives as though nothing were occurring. I'm on the go. I summon you to a new era. However, I need you to pause for a second and give me your whole attention. Do you sense it? The little constriction in the chest, the need to cry for no apparent reason. You are receiving confirmation from my spirit that this word is true. How many times have you sensed an impending event but were sidetracked by life's demands? How many times have you wanted to do more prayer, more seeking, more giving, but you put it off until later? I'm telling you today, don't put off what heaven has designated for you just yet. It's not only a sensation you have within. She is my presence's breath, preparing you for awareness. I suggest that you listen with your spirit because of this. Listen carefully to what is being stated. This isn't your typical message. This is a pivotal time. You are about to get a revelation, yet every revelation needs to be addressed. Hearing with the spirit is equally as important as hearing with the ears. I'm asking you to open your heart because of this. Avoid obstructing this moment with uncertainties, justifications, or diversions. I'm present. I'm speaking. And if you're ready to listen, what I have to say can totally change your path. Many people claim to want change, yet they keep ignoring the little clues. Some people pray for solutions, yet they don't recognize me when I appear. While I speak in the whisper of conscience and the gentle wind of trust, do not be like those who gaze up at the sky in anticipation of thunder. The sound of waking is this. When I call you, I make this sound. Do not become heartless if you sense this calling. Your restlessness is an indication that you need to rebalance. There is a new cycle beginning. Never be afraid of the unknown. Simply be reluctant to squander time by seizing the chance. Because sometimes all that is needed is simple obedience. And this is a time like that. You're not by yourself. You weren't. And I want you to know that I see you now more than ever. You are someone I know. I'm phoning you, too. My call is clear. He is unambiguous. However, you have to decide to listen from the heart. Now is the time. Comment now, I hear you, if you sense that this word is living inside of you. This remark is a spiritual reaction rather than merely a gesture. A surrendering act. An indication that you are alert, perceptive, and focused on what I am showing you. Take another long breath. This is only the start of something truly remarkable. Are you able to comprehend how time moves differently? The hours go by so quickly. The days are growing shorter. The seasons shift more quickly. Still, a lot of people carry on with their lives as if nothing had changed. They disregard the warning indicators. They disregard cautions. They think they have time to figure things out later. However, I can assure you that the days of passively waiting are over. This is a pivotal point. When inertia may be expensive. Where doors that were about to open can be closed by remaining silent in the face of a call. You can no longer live on autopilot, which is why I'm waking you up. Only those who pay attention will be able to recognize the things that move in the spiritual realm. I have a spectacular debut coming up, but only those who can hear my voice will know it. Furthermore, not everyone will experience this release. Those who answer, "Get up," and are willing to say, "I am ready, Lord," will experience it. You feel as though you need a change from your previous way of life. However, He frequently stays still and waits for things to happen naturally. Awaiting the ideal situation. The ideal response. The perfect day. Heaven, however, doesn't wait. I don't hold out. I speak because the moment has arrived. And that moment has arrived. It's time to take action. It's time to get moving. The moment when you will obey my summons. You prayed for change. You requested a sign. You yelled for guidance. I'm here now, talking to you directly. However, what will you do with this word? Will you, like so many others, let it go? Will you delay what the Spirit has already confirmed in your heart once more? Or are you going to make the choice that might alter everything? Many people do not give up on the old, but they do crave the new. They are caught on the ground of their justifications, despite their desire to soar. Today, I'm calling you to break free from this. Because without mobility, nothing will change. Without a solution, there won't be a miracle. What you experience later is determined by what you do today. The spiritual reality that many people overlook is this. They consider waiting to be faith. However, it isn't. Unobedient waiting turns into procrastination masquerading as spirituality. And that's not why I called you. I have urged you to act in response to my call, to walk in faith, and to take action before you see. It's not necessary for you to comprehend everything. All you have to do is have faith and start. Refrain from settling into the comfort zones you have created out of uncertainty and worry. They are obstacles that stop the promise from materializing. Apathy is no longer an option. Those who were spiritually sleeping are being awakened by my breath on thirsty souls. And don't fight it if it's blazing within of you. Don't put off what heaven need right now. I gave you a special chance to overcome everything that has so far prevented you from moving forward. Some individuals pray for chances, but they fail to see them when they come. Others pay attention to directions, but they don't follow them until the situation changes. They don't harvest. They remain still. What was cooked is not tasted by them. Because as people move, the sky moves too. Having everything worked out is not required. All you have to do is be available. More valuable than 1,000 flawless plans is an open heart. I'm not ready, I'm seeking for availability. People who believe that I am the powerful God and say, "Here I am," even when they are frightened within. You can unleash what looked stagnated today. When you genuinely say yes, things that have remained stuck for years might start to flow. Without active trust, waiting will not lead to anything. And an attitude is where practical faith starts. With a response. With a choice. Don't wait for the ideal situation to arise. Because there will never be perfection. But if you decide to follow me, my grace will be with you at every turn. If this word resonated with you, tell someone who needs to wake up right away. God may use you as a conduit to awaken those who are continuing to live as though nothing is wrong. The time has shifted, and you may be the trumpet that proclaims it. Now is the moment. Now is not the time to remain still. The Spirit is beckoning. And the impossible will come to those who react with confidence. You won't realize how much your decision today will determine. Moments like these are difficult to replicate. A cycle ends and a new one starts. However, the time of the visit will be wasted by anyone who does not speak out. Don't be another person who listened and ignored it. Be the one who paid attention and took action. Who experienced and reacted. Who got up after being moved. This is why I phoned you. It's your chance to answer now. Do you recall that night when you went to bed feeling depressed and unsure of your ability to stay awake? That instant when everything appeared to be black and you questioned whether anyone could see what you were dealing with. I observed. I was present. Every time you attempted to be strong in front of people but were actually collapsing on the inside, every time you cried in silence, every time you thought about asking for help. I told you everything. And I made sure that none of your suffering was in vain. No pain escaped my eyes. I didn't miss any disappointments. I noticed the weight you carried within when everyone else believed you were okay. I heard your soul's sorrows while you covered them up with smiles. I want you to know that even though I occasionally felt alone, I never abandoned you. When everything seemed to fall apart around you, I was your haven. When you felt like you could no longer handle it, I was your pillar of support. You endured suffering that was inexplicable. His identity was damaged by rejections. He heard words that made a lasting impression. There were days when everything you held dear appeared to fall apart, and the earth seemed to vanish. However, you were blind to the fact that it was molding you at that precise time. I gave you strength as you sobbed. I created a road beneath your feet as you traveled in ignorance. There was no waste of tears. The potential that is about to blossom was nourished by each of them. Because of some relationships that hindered your growth, I permitted some breakups. I shut doors because the future I had planned for you did not include what was behind them. I pushed individuals away because they failed to see your true self, and I refused to let other people's wounds define who you were. I witnessed your discrediting. When your beliefs was ridiculed. When your delivery was questioned. However, I also seen you praying despite your lack of strength. When you made the decision to trust despite your lack of comprehension. The moment for change is now. Static things will start to move. What seemed buried will reappear. I retained the dreams you believed you had lost. What was concealed but never forgotten is now being revealed by me. Around you, something significant is developing. You already feel it, even if you can't see it yet. Something seems strange to you. That the atmosphere has changed. That something is about to change. And that isn't fantasy. My spirit is getting you ready to fulfill the promises made to you. Signs of the impossible are starting to appear. Something inside of you has aligned, not because everything else has changed. The sky moves when faith finds the appropriate time. And that's where you are. You have arrived at the moment when suffering turns into strength, injuries become signs of triumph, and your misfortune into evidence of my faithfulness. However, a response is required. It is necessary to position. Because those who only wait will not receive what I have for you. Those that stand up and have faith will see it. It's not necessary for you to comprehend every rationale. Have faith that all of your experiences have equipped you for the future. No procedure was arbitrary. There was no coincidence in the delay. I'm setting you up for something more than you could have ever imagined. Don't go back, then. Don't let doubts destroy you. Don't give up just yet. All of this was not in vain for you. More than ever, it's close. The period of embarrassment is ending. The moment of promise is drawing near. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel right now if you would want to get more messages like this one. This goes beyond a simple gesture. It is a statement that your faith is alive, that you desire to walk with me every step of the road, and that you are willing to keep hearing my voice. Because the person who travels with me experiences insight. And the future will be so amazing that even your detractors will realize that I was the one who stood by you. You provide as tangible evidence of my concern, my ability to see, and my ability to heal. The moment has come to live on the promises that are going to be realized rather than the memories of the past. Breathe deeply. At this point, everything begins to make sense. The point at when all suffering acquires meaning. And there the impossibility starts to show itself to you. An instruction preceded each miracle that changed the course of history. I instructed Noah to construct the ark before the rain covered the ground. I told Joseph what he had to do to save a whole country before hunger hit Egypt. I commanded Moses to lift his staff before the Red Sea split. I always talk with guidance before taking action. Because I am both a God of principles and a God of promises. I don't simply do it. Instructing. Assist. I demand readiness. Because the supernatural only comes to those who honor the divine order. You've been pleading, begging, and seeking signs. And I'm going to demonstrate to you today something that many people overlook: obedience comes before manifestation. Your response is the first step in keeping the promise. Don't stay still and wait for the sky to collapse. In hearts that reject the call, I do not pour out the new. For those who go in faith, I move everything around them. Furthermore, genuine faith acts without waiting to observe. She responds even if she doesn't fully comprehend. Since you are aware of the speaker. How many times have you requested me to alter your tale, yet you resisted my straightforward requests? How many times have you screamed for help yet held on to authority, fear, and common sense? Your calculations do not limit me. I am not hampered by your wealth. I work with the obedient, but I operate in the impossible. Those who see that waiting is not enough and that action is necessary in my time. The promise's time is not a passive one. It is a time of decision-making, alignment, and active reaction. The magnificent deeds you have seen in my word were the product of both audacious deeds and silent trust. Without seeing a drop of rain, Noah started building. When people were still living in plenty, Joseph started to store. As they followed him, Moses held out his staff before a closed sea. Before they saw the evidence, they had faith in me. They didn't wait for evidence to support their claims. They obeyed, which is why the signs appeared. This is the distinction between people who merely hear about the remarkable and those who really experience it. Few people really live out the promises, even if many are aware of them. Because not many people are prepared to live by real faith. The religion that calls for renunciation. It requires bravery. You have to leave the location for that. I have called you to a road of obedient faith, not to a life of meaningless expectations. Instructions are being posted. I'm directing you. Nevertheless, you have to choose between responding or just listening. Just because you believe in quiet doesn't mean that everything will happen. When everything appears to be going well, trust can sometimes be shown in the lifting of a stick, the construction of an ark, or the choice to store food. Sometimes adherence to something that no one can explain is a sign of trust. And that's just how I behave. I make advantage of the available, the modest, and those who obey orders without question. Because they are aware of who is speaking, they obey. It is not a tiny thing that I am about to bring into your life. However, you require structure. A basis is necessary. And obedience is where the basis starts. Many people disregard directions yet desire miracles. They steer clear of lawsuits, but they expect their commitments to be fulfilled. Destinies are not given to shaky hands by me. I make pledges to people who follow my guidance. You just amass words without activation if you listen to me but don't follow along. However, you are ready to witness what others can only imagine if you pay attention to me and take action. Obedience does not need perfection. You must be willing. Because Noah didn't start with perfection. It was the atmosphere. Joseph did not govern because of experience. It was faithfulness. Moses did not win because of his strength. It was faith. Prayer is not enough to open doors, obedience does. And only that type of confidence will open the doors that lie before you. He who hears, rises, and takes action. Even when it all appears to be the same. Even when nobody can comprehend it. Even when it seems like the sky is still quiet. I'm disrupting your life's rhythms. I am breaking unseen bonds. You're going to a new station with me. But you have to do something in response. Believing alone is insufficient. You must comply. And obedience starts with the little, the hidden, and the unseen. Saying yes to something that not everyone will comprehend is the first step. However, I get it. I understand. I pay tribute to him. And it's this yes that alters how your tale unfolds. You have no idea how much has already come your way simply because you are now receiving this message. However, this is just the beginning. More is still to be revealed. There is more to activate. More recent. However, before we discuss what is ahead, I want you to know this. The faith that changes is not the faith that waits for the miracle to occur, but the faith that acts before it does. You're being called to walk on this level. I'm urging you to live up to this ideal. Heaven reacts when you obey, therefore I call you to do so even if you can't see it. Nothing will be able to stop what I have already decided for you when heaven responds. You have been requesting answers from me. You have been seeking guidance. He has been pleading for a sign, a protest, or a change. But will you actually listen to me now that I'm speaking? Because many people beg me to talk, yet they object when I show them the path. Many claim to seek my will, yet when it calls for resignation, they refuse to comply. However, I am unable to disclose any additional information about individuals who still clinging to the things I have previously advised them to give up. Wanting the promise isn't enough. It all comes down to being ready for it. It's the response that separates those who are satisfied from others who just wait. Those who obey receive the promise, not those who only beg for it. And I'm asking you again today, can you hear me? What am I saying? Are you listening? Or have you been so engrossed in your own ideas that you are unable to distinguish between human perplexity and heavenly guidance? I am not a confused God. When I talk, I make things clear. However, as long as you continue to solely use your knowledge to filter things, this clarity will not materialize. I address the soul, the spirit, and the heart. And in order to listen intently, you must turn off all outside noise, fear, and worldly reasoning. The sound of the race does not drown out my speech. The remainder of the trust reveals it. And you must listen to me with an open mind if you wish to live the life for which you have been ready. Although you have asked for guidance, you have been delaying making choices. You keep going around in circles even though you begged for progress. I've previously given you instructions, but you refuse to follow them because you want answers. If people haven't reacted to what has previously been made public, how can I present something fresh? I spoke plainly, my daughter, my son. However, a lot of people don't pay attention because they think I'll validate their own conclusions. However, I don't support your plans. The purpose was written by myself. And whomever follows me must be prepared to do so even if they don't fully comprehend the situation. Although I promised you presence, I did not guarantee you peace. I promised those who trusted me victory, but I did not promise a path free from hardship. I'm calling on you now to get out of your reluctance. Your strength has been stolen by doubt. Your steps have delayed due to indecision. Your faith has been muffled by fear. However, I give your courage life today. I provide you mental freedom. The unseen bonds that keep you from establishing yourself are broken by me. For you are invited to walk before you comprehend, to trust before you touch, and to obey before you see. Time won't wait until you're ready. Now the sky is in motion. And those who do not follow the line are abandoned. They chose the security of control above the danger of trust, not because they were punished. You will see doors open where there were previously just walls if you pay attention to me today and rise in answer to my speech. Because I am still the God who creates bridges over valleys, pauses the sun, pulls water from rocks, and opens roads in the desert. It's not necessary to know how everything will turn out. All you have to do is trust your advisor. I am the God who started the good work in you, and I will finish it myself. However, I need your response. I need you to acknowledge my presence. May you decide to comply even if things still appear to be the same. Because the invisible starts to appear when you pay attention to me and react. Comment 7777 if you can hear my voice now and wish to say that you're prepared to follow orders. This number will serve as a spiritual indicator that your heart is in harmony with heaven, much like a prophetic act. It goes beyond a simple remark. It's a response. It's a placement. He uses it to express, Lord, I hear you. I trust in the Lord. I'm moving, Lord. You've been called for more. The decision to live beyond the apparent was made for him. And it's time to make a decision. Down into the depths and leaving the surface. Because no one who immerses themselves in me comes out empty-handed. Waiting for you are deep seas. Only when you take the leap of faith that I have been requesting of you for so long will the hidden promises become visible. I agree with you. And you will experience what the eyes did not see, the ears did not hear, and the human heart never touched, but which I prepared exclusively for those who love me, if you pay attention to my answer. Something is going on in the spirit world right now. I am distinguishing between those who choose to live based just on what their natural eyes perceive and those who choose to trust even when they cannot see. Although it is invisible to the naked eye, this division does exist. And it's taking place right now. Even when the world tries to stifle religion, I am marking the hearts that are still responsive to my message. I refer to those who, although not fully comprehending the situation, do not give in to pressure but instead maintain their commitment to the pledge. I talked at Noah's time. I made signs. I waited a while. I gave a clear directive. However, a lot of people laughed, disregarded him, and carried on with their lives as though nothing would happen. They didn't believe it until they felt the first drops of rain. However, the ark's entrance was already closed when they recognized it as real. I don't talk pointlessly. And the reason I talk is because something is going to happen. One of those times is now. Opportunities are evaporating before your very eyes. And those who don't pay attention will come to regret not answering sooner. You still have time, though. You still have time to reply. The yes still has the power to alter your tale. Being among those who progress, who trust, and who obey before their wishes are achieved is what I most desire for you. Because the one who pays attention to me and follows my instructions will never feel ashamed. I follow through on my commitments. I fulfill all of my commitments. However, I only provide it to people who are prepared to accept it with spiritual responsibility. Don't allow uncertainty to distract you from the present. Don't allow the seeming delay to make you less sensitive. The heavens are in motion. I'm pretending. My hand is establishing the scene, even if you can't see it yet. However, only those who maintain their faith in the face of proof are still standing. And even when the sea is still stormy, only those who respond to my call walk on water. Give this word to someone who needs to hear it right now if you believe it to be urgent. People around you continue to live their lives as though nothing had occurred, but things are changing. And you may be the arousing trumpet. You could be the link that makes my voice heard. If someone is on the verge of squandering the time of their guests, you could be the solution. I invited you to join the community of people who have faith in me. Of those who follow orders. Of people who believe without waiting to see. And the reason you are reading this right now is that you still have time to align and declare, I choose to trust. However, don't wait any longer. Because the fulfillment will be visible to everyone listens to my speech. It will flash before the eyes of those who choose to disregard it, what they could have experienced with their own hands. Make your decision now. Make your decision now. Thus the division has already started. It is necessary for your home to have something. A component that has had a significant spiritual impact since ancient times. I'm talking about consecrated oil. It's no ordinary oil. It's not a magical item. It is a tangible representation of my presence, defense, and detachment. I have always marked those who have been selected, isolated, and readied for something bigger with oil. Priests, kings, prophets. Before pursuing their vocation, each of them underwent the anointing process. And I'd want to encourage you to use this idea in your own home now. This isn't a custom. It's a faith act. Your spiritual declaration that your house is mine is made when you anoint it. You are calling me to live where there was just routine before, and He is saying, Lord, this place is your refuge, your sanctuary, your home. Every environment is being consecrated to my care by you. Because darkness has no place where my presence is welcomed. There is no pandemonium when I am honest. I urge you to apply oil the way the ancients did. Mark windows, doors, beds, items, etc. as a statement of alliance rather than superstition. The vase does not contain the anointing. It's in compliance. In the believing heart. When you anoint, you are setting a spiritual bar that distinguishes your house from the norm. This is in line with the prophetic act of those who declare that only the presence of God has authority. You are using my name to conceal, seal, and safeguard all that is yours. I witnessed the extent of your efforts to maintain harmony in your household. I seen the battle nights, the exhausting days, and the tense situations that render you powerless. And believe me when I say that certain things will only go away if you adopt a spiritual position and grow in faith. Restoration results from the anointing. Bring about healing. Bring freedom. When a house is dedicated, it ceases to be a battleground and instead becomes a haven where the soul rests. And I want to accomplish it with you, make your house a place of communion where I am respected and felt. You could even believe that you lack the requisite preparation, that you are unworthy, or that you don't know how to do it. However, I don't call people who are prepared. I make use of those that are accessible. And I'll be there if you're ready to take a stance and dedicate your area. Because I reply with displays of my grandeur when you honor me with actions of trust. Furthermore, oil will just mark the start of a new age. Recall my request that Samuel anoint David. He was the tiniest, the least probable, and the forgotten. However, heaven unleashed what had been suppressed when the oil touched his head. What was concealed was ignited by the anointing. This might also happen to you. It may occur within your house. All you need to do is believe. All you have to do is do something. Spiritually, certain areas are being occupied, but I provide you the power to mark what is rightfully yours by my presence. You don't have to put up with disorder. You might announce that God is in control here. I'll teach you if you haven't done this before. Take an oil and offer it up in prayer. Declare that it will serve as a reminder of my protection and presence. After that, begin anointing your home's rooms. As you anoint, pray. Make a life declaration. Make a peace declaration. Announce the release. Have faith. Act fearfully. Do this with compassion. Because the heavenly realm will see this deed. And the sky will answer. Like this video and subscribe to the channel right away if you want to follow along on this journey of consecration with me and continue to get revelations like this one. This goes beyond just dedication. It's a religious reaction. It is His way of saying, Lord, I am ready to go deeper. You create room for heaven to appear in your life when you connect with what comes from heaven. Only the first part is the consecrated oil. More is still to be revealed. However, it all starts with this act, a heart that decides to respect my existence. And I manifest myself when you honor me. Everything around me changes when you give me room. Nothing will be the same in your house. The aura of heaven will permeate your surroundings. Because life exists where anointing occurs. Deliverance occurs when there is anointing. Miracles occur wherever there is anointing. Get ready. This is only the start. One river never stops flowing. A reliable source. A drink that not only satisfies thirst but also revitalizes the spirit, cleanses the intellect, and heals the heart. I am this water. My live presence is this fountain, which flows over everyone who comes to me in search of something more profound. Water was one of my most effective tools for separation, purification, and restarting right from the start. I cleaned the soil with water after the world was polluted and began the narrative with Noah anew. I released the rivers to liberate my people who were imprisoned in Egypt and provide space for the promise. And I still do this today, using the live water that emanates from my presence to divide the past from the future. My word is symbolized by water. And everybody who leaves him gets parched on the inside. Because they have separated from the source, many people are spiritually worn out. They attempt to satiate themselves with unnourishing stuff. They seek for in human sounds what my voice alone possesses. They search the commotion for answers when all they have to do is go back to the quiet where I talk. The living water is me. Also, anyone who drinks from me won't experience thirst ever again. My son told the Samaritan lady that while anybody who consumes the water of this world would experience thirst again, the person who drinks the water I provide will be content for all eternity. You have experienced an inexplicable emptiness. A mild yet persistent pain. A fatigue that appears to persist after physical rest. This is the soul's hunger. And returning to the source is the only way to solve the problem. Go back to what I said. Go back to the hidden location where your spirit is rejuvenated. Since no accomplishment will occupy that area. This inner dryness cannot be cured by a relationship. The only thing that can restore the aridity within you is my presence. Pay attention to that thirst. She's an invitation. It is a sign that the time has arrived for you to be cleansed of the dust of life, to have all of your thoughts, memories, and burdens washed away by me. You have access to springs of rejuvenation. They're also not that far away. When you pause and search for me, they pour. When you give up, they fall. Lord, I need your source, you realize. What was tainted is restored by water. Renew what was worn out. Give the dry things vitality. And I'm calling you to plunge one more today. Give up the superficial. Step off the surface and into the depths of who I am. I talk in this way, for that reason. I purify myself throughout this immersion. This immersion is where I change. Don't be scared. The source is me. I'm prepared to rejuvenate you as well. Bread should be the third item in your house. It is unlike your typical bread, which is baked with just wheat and yeast. However, the bread stands for something far more significant, my commitment, supply, and nourishment. I have always stood by people that have faith in me. I made sure my troops had all they needed as they traversed the desert. He provided one precise and adequate loaf of bread every day, like manna from heaven. And I still provide care for anyone who chooses to rely on my hand now, just as I did back then. However, many people overlook the fact that the manna was not collected. He was every day. Not just in times of crisis, but every day, I wanted my people to learn to trust me. I wanted them to know that, despite the appearance of weakness, my commitment never wavers. And I'm still hoping for hearts that believe in my everyday care today. Because the person who travels with me thrives on connections rather than reserves. I am the source of security, not resources. It is not based on human computations, but on my word. Tomorrow has been on your mind. You've been going over your expenses, obligations, and necessities. And you frequently feel overburdened. But I tell you, how much more will I care for you if I arrange the field's flowers and feed the birds of the air more exquisitely than Solomon in all his splendor? You are not a numerical value. You are my daughter, my son, and the promise's successor. You don't have to feel nervous. You have to have faith. Because when confidence surpasses fear, supply occurs. At the final dinner, my son also broke bread. Bread began to represent the new covenant after Jesus declared, "This is my body, which is given for you." Of an everlasting covenant between heaven and believers. I present myself abundantly in this position of dependency, and as you accept my bread, you are saying, "Lord, I depend on you. You are my sustenance." Because I don't disregard those who understand that they are powerless without me. Many people have a lot of physical possessions but no spirit. Everything but my presence is what they eat. They chase after worldly food, but they fail to remember that there is bread that originated in heaven and provides eternal life. That bread is me. And he is not lost who feeds on me. Whoever eats me finds calm, balance, power, and direction. You require more than cash, more than solutions, and more than accomplishments. Every day, you must eat the live bread that descends from heaven and nourishes your soul. And you have access to that bread. Every day, not just on special occasions or once a week. A portion is ready each morning when you wake up. A word freed. Nourishment that originates on my throne. Simply search. Simply extend your trust. I am the God who never fails and who always shows up at the appropriate moment. The way you truly need it, not your way. Before you ever speak, I am aware of your wants. I've already started working on every little detail. It's time to get back to me if you've ever felt empty or hungry, something that nothing in this world can fill. Go back to the original source. Return to the table. Now let's return to the bread. Don't let life's haste deprive you of what's truly important. Even if you have everything, you would still be hungry if I am not with you. However, you will find serenity even in the desert if you have me. You will witness miracles even in times of shortage. You will relax even during a conflict. Because those who rely on me don't let life's challenges unsettle them. Enjoy this video now as a token of appreciation if this word is nourishing your spirit. Because I feed you anew each time you connect with my voice. I always respond when you search for me. I always fill the space you create. There's still more to come out. More has yet to be published. But it all begins with the realization that there is no actual bread on the world's stores. I put it on the table every day for anyone who decide to put their confidence in me. Take this bread. He's for you. Salt is the fourth essential item you need in your house. Although it may seem like a basic element to the naked eye, it has profound spiritual significance. For me, salt has always represented cooperation. A clear indication of dedication, chastity, consecration, and preservation. I have been using salt to make enduring agreements with my servants since ancient times. Offerings, sacrifices, and temple rites all made use of it. Because salt serves as both a condiment and a preserver. Stop the spread of corruption. And my presence affects the spirit in the same way that salt affects matter. Being a salt of the soil was your calling. This implies that wherever you go in life, my essence must accompany you. May you halt destructive cycles, change atmospheres, and purify surroundings. However, a lot of people have forgotten it. They let the world to rob them of their taste. His beliefs were softened. They relativized their truths. For this reason, they live as though the holy and the mundane were one and the same. However, I call mine once more today. Let's get back to the main point. Let's go back to the alliance. I encourage you to use salt in your house as a living reminder of who you are in me, rather than merely as an item. Take a handful and separate them. Say a prayer for it. Desecrate it as a sign of your partnership with me. Use it with trust after that. Over your house, declare, here is holiness. Here is separation. Here evil does not prevail. Just as the prophet Elisha purified the waters of a dirty city with salt, you may do the same with situations that are oppressive, conflictual, and spiritually exhausting. Because the sky moves in response to your acts of trust. The absence of consecration is causing problems for certain properties. Families that are struggling spiritually because they have lost sight of the covenant's importance. And I tell you about it now so that a fresh chapter may start. The partnership with heaven ought to be obvious, deliberate, and ongoing. It is about spiritual identity rather than religion. It is not your calling to live like other people. I was cut off. He won the election. He received anointing. And each time you look at it, the salt will remind you of that. Time does not taint the agreement made with me, any more than fire ruins salt. However, a stand must be made. Declare who you serve with a positive attitude. May you dedicate to my name what is rightfully yours. I wish to mark your house. May your life be an area that is inaccessible to the adversary. And this starts when you realize that alliance is something you live, not simply something you feel. Something that is respected. Still, holiness is the path. Purity is still crucial. And this dedication is symbolized by salt. Dedication to the everlasting. Dedication to the truth. Dedication to light. I'm bringing that comprehension back. Teach your children to stand up for what they believe in. Who would rather be loyal to me than get acceptance from men? Who, despite the world's attempts to deceive them, live for paradise? This includes you. This is how you were called to live. Give this word to someone who needs to hear it right away if it opened your eyes. Some folks are getting lost because they don't comprehend. Houses that should never have been abandoned because they disregard spiritual precepts are being persecuted. Act as a conduit for restoration. Be the loving voice that warns. Be the link that reunites people with the alliance. Those who belong to me are being separated. Additionally, you belong to the generation that embodies heaven on earth. He leads a purposeful life, walks in holiness, and refuses to let transient things corrupt him. You get the salt back at your place. Additionally, he will deepen the alliance. The protection will be turned on. We'll take notice of the presence. Get ready. There will be more disclosures soon. And every one of them will help you get closer to the goal I set for your life. You were meant to be unique. They are not distinguished by recognition, title, or look, but fundamentally different. For containing inside you that which is not bargained for, combined, or tainted by the norms of this world. I wasn't simply using a lovely metaphor when I stated, you are the salt of the earth. It was an identification statement. Salt has taste. It serves a function. It has the ability to conserve. However, it becomes useless after its taste is gone. Additionally, a lot of people began with intensity but eventually lost their taste. For the look, they altered the essence. Depth by way of acceptance. Convenient holiness. You weren't made for this. To maintain my presence in a world that is determined to turn out the light, I formed you. Not to be persuaded, but to exert influence, you were chosen. He was anointed to reject corruption and hold on to what is good. But you have to remember who you are in order to keep the taste. Above all, never forget who I am in you. Because you lose what makes you unique when you leave me. However, your life turns into a bridge between heaven and earth when you stay in me. Many people are combining it. They refer to evil as good. They use complex arguments to defend the mistake. In order to avoid losing people, places, or status, they adjust to everything. To be honest, though, I have phoned you. Be thorough. Even if everything around you changes, hold on to a truth that never changes. Those that don't sell out are being raised by me. Those who refuse to give in to pressure, culture, or fear. Those who would sooner forfeit the world's admiration than jeopardize their anointing. Being salt in a bland world is not easy. This may occasionally require going against the grain. It will be detrimental to relationships. It will draw criticism. However, it's worthwhile. Because I will support, encourage, and retain anyone who sticks with me. I respect those who respect me. And I will not be ashamed before the Father if I am not ashamed before mankind. The loyal are eligible for several benefits. For those who remained upright when everyone else collapsed. For those who maintained their religion when it was more convenient to do otherwise. You're not by yourself. Despite appearances, it is not. I'm rearing a generation in secret, behind the scenes, in deserts, and in private spaces. Individuals undergoing treatment, molding, and purification. People who will be brought up in positions of responsibility out of loyalty rather than fame. And you're involved in it. One of the people I have groomed to be out of the spotlight but to shine when the moment is right is you. You might be surprised to learn how near that moment is. You are not burdened by your distinction. There's a reason. Many people will subsequently seek you out because of what makes you look odd today. Because the actual lights will shine as the darkness deepens. Additionally, I'm activating an indestructible force within you. However, positioning is required for this. You must choose between continuing to attempt to satisfy everyone and living your life primarily to please me. Your uniqueness is needed in the world. Your placement is crucial for your generation. Heaven is depending on you saying yes. Subscribe to this channel right away if you want to keep receiving messages that uplift your faith and confirm your identity in me. This is a means of maintaining a connection to reality, staying steadfast among a lot of noise, and keeping the flame burning brightly. There is more to it than a click. It is an act of cooperation, continuity, of firmness. Your identity is being restored by me, reminding you that you have a responsibility to change the world. And the sky shifts in your favor each time you pick me, even when you don't say anything. Proceed. Keep going. Don't compromise your core. Since I am with you, and my companions never walk in vain. What are you going to do with this revelation now that I have shown you the four elements, the bread of sustenance, the water of rejuvenation, the oil of consecration, and the salt of the covenant? Because many people still do not move even after hearing my voice, sensing my touch, and receiving clear instructions. They spend their lives gathering signals, hoarding words, and making promises. And they keep standing motionless, anticipating a perfect moment that never comes. However, this is no longer a moment for reflection. The decision-making moment has arrived. You can't simply keep taking notes on what I say and not give me the kind of response I want. Though it only becomes a reality for those who take a stance, every lesson I offer is an invitation to something bigger. And this is what distinguishes those who have meaningful experiences from others who only see miracles in other people's life. Although I am the same God for everyone, not everyone experiences my manifestation in the same manner. To those who exhibit greater commitment, faith, and determination, I reveal myself more fully. Now is not the time to be doubtful. Many promises have been muted by indecision. People are now caught between their lives and their feelings, between their knowledge and their actions. However, indecisive people never create something that lasts. The indecisive are not called to big works by me. Those who have faith are called upon. People who want to believe instead than comprehend. Those who believe that life is no longer conceivable. They see it, either I plunge in for good or I keep drowning on the surface of what doesn't change. There's a reason I told you about the four components. So that you were equipped with spiritual resources to get through this period. It wasn't a lesson. It was a summons. A prelude to what lies ahead. And passivity is not enough for what is ahead. It will need maturity. You'll need to have practical faith. Spiritual activity will be necessary. Knowing it won't be sufficient. This will have to be done. And for that reason, I implore you. As I am aware of the amount I put in you. I am aware of how much I kept you apart and rescued you from pitfalls you were unaware of. I didn't just do this. You have a purpose that needs to come to pass, which is why I did it. But I can't make that decision for you. I can speak, but you have to answer. I can tell you, but you have to do something. You must walk, but I can get ready. I said what needed to be said. You have to make a choice now. Revelation requires an answer. An attitude is what awaits you in heaven. Because this is one of those moments that signify fate. This message is not being sent to you by accident. This marks the distinction between before and after. The allotted time for visits is almost up. Some cycles come to an end. Seasons change. And those who miss this opportunity will discover their mistake too late. Many people carried on living as if nothing were going to happen, just like in Noah's day. They worked, they dreamt, they drank, they ate, till they were taken aback by the welcome. Avoid being like them. We've warned you. They told him. Someone phoned him. You now have to take a position. Because the one who takes a stance can see it. Whoever responds gets it. The one who obeys makes an effort. What you've been keeping hidden for years might be revealed by your reaction now. It has the ability to shatter actual but invisible shackles. It may trigger a new stage in your emotional, familial, and spiritual history. I'm prepared. The heavens are prepared. However, how about you? Will you actually rise up, or will you just listen to me again? Will you keep putting things off or pretend that you realize you are being summoned by heaven? It is up to you to decide. I can't walk for you now that I've given you directions. However, I will accompany you on every subsequent step if you take the initial one. Breathe deeply. Feel the weight of what is being released within of you. Understand that it's more than simply a word. It's an address. It's a vocation. Before the weather shifts again, this is your final chance. We have more to share with you. However, I must first have your response. She is unable to wait much longer. Time is not static. Those who take action now identify themselves with the future. Whoever is skeptical loses. However, the one who obeys gets in. Do you hear me? Prepare yourselves, then. Only those who answer now will know what comes next. Always provide warning before taking action. I always send forth words, messages, and alarms. I always provide instructions before passing judgment. Without first preparing the hearts of people I wish to protect, I can never bring about change. In actuality, though, a lot of people don't take the chance seriously. They believe that a fresh moment, a new chance, or a new word will always present itself. However, the period of preparation comes to an end, and the prophecy starts to come true. My voice was heard back when Noah was alive. I issued directives, commanded the ark's building, and foretold what would happen. However, majority choose to ignore, laugh, and make fun of it. They didn't believe it until they felt the first drops of rain. And the door had already been shut when they realized it was genuine. It was late already. I paused. Let's say opportunities. However, I can't wait forever for someone who refuses to listen to me. Lot's wife experienced the same thing. She obviously heard the directive to turn away. However, your spirit was still stuck with what I had already left behind halfway there. He stayed there, looking back. She was unable to break with what I had already deemed closed, not because I wished her gone. Many individuals continue to gaze at what I have previously urged them to leave behind, which paralyzes them. Attached to people, places, cycles, and emotions that are no longer relevant to the goal. And they miss what I'm doing right now when they look back. Although I am a merciful God, I am also a time-dependent God. Life, freedom, and promise await those who pay attention to me and react appropriately. However, those who consistently disregard my appeal ultimately suffer the repercussions of their own apathy. By choice, not by punishment. Time is not patient. Additionally, the harvest will always follow the seed that was sowed. Have you sown resistance or sensitivity? Have you been delaying or fostering faith? I am aware of the number of times we have spoken. I am aware of the number of commits I have previously sent. I am aware of how many mails arrived at the appropriate moment. You paused, though. You put it off. You believed you could hold off a bit longer. Now, however, I say this with firmness and love: how many more affirmations are you in need of? How long will you continue to deny what is obvious? Only when the heart refuses to trust does doubt persist. But you already know it in your heart. I was the one who talked, you know. This word is for you, you know that. The climate is changing, as you are aware. And you are aware that you can no longer ignore it. I'm phoning you to end our relationship. For a step that will make all the difference. The secret to your next level is a delivery that you have been delaying. The holy can no longer be played with. You can no longer act as though it isn't about you. This call is serious. An alignment term. A spiritual wake-up call. Going around in circles is not what you were made for. It was made to bring my glory to the world. But only if you follow my instructions will this be feasible. If this phrase makes you shiver, leave a remark right away: I'm prepared. This won't just be a sentence. The reaction will be spiritual. A promise that you will no longer put things off, fight back, or ignore them. I hope you're prepared to live what I've planned. May I be able to let go of the past and move on to the new thing I'm letting go of. Make a statement with your comment. As a person who pays attention and reacts. They prayed so hard to experience this because they believe it may be the pivotal moment. I remain here. I'm still speaking. I'm still phoning. However, it won't be open indefinitely. While there is still time, get in. While there is still a voice, pay attention. While it's still light, take a stroll. Because the ground must answer the voice of heaven. And you were summoned to provide the solution. The finest moment of your life might result from your response now. However, it needs to be urgent, bold, and real. I am awaiting your arrival. Furthermore, what follows your choice will be far more significant than what you are giving up. Believing without seeing is what faith is all about. Even when nothing around you validates what was promised, faith still moves. It's putting more faith in my voice than the situation. Even though it appears absurd to the naked eye, it is following my directions. This is the kind of trust that reaches the heavens. The faith that makes the promises come true. The religion that changes people's lives. And I'm looking for this confidence in you right now. I've already shown you the path. I've shown you the indications before. Clear instructions have previously been posted by me. There is nothing left on my end. It's your chance to answer now. Because there must be a commensurate action for every insight. Lack of decision-making, not a lack of direction, is what is holding you back today. It is the lack of progress, not the lack of promise. And you must awaken with a faith that sees before it sees if you wish to encounter anything novel. Take a look at the people that came before you. Abraham simply heard my voice and left his property without knowing where he was heading. It lacked a framework, a plan, and assurances. However, he made a pledge. He became the father of several children after being affected by the promise. Before the water divided, Moses touched it. Before the walls of Jericho collapsed, Joshua strolled in quiet. As everyone watched in terror, David confronted a giant with a rock. They didn't wait for outside indications. They took my words at face value. And it was sufficient to alter his account. It will also alter yours. What you need to accomplish is already clear to you. You are aware of what I requested. You already know what action to take, what attitude to adopt, and which door to close. However, he is holding off on taking action until the situation changes. And believe me when I say that the situation won't alter unless you relocate. Because security is not necessary for sincere faith. Trust is necessary. Your security is me. You can walk on me as the basis. Even if it sounds dangerous, you are safe if I gave the command. My protection is activated by obedience. Provide when there was a lack of it. Bring me in where there was previously nothing. I draw closer to you with each step you take in my direction. And nothing is the same where I am. Your obedience could be the key that unlocks all of the things you've been asking for a very long time. However, you will continue to accrue unfulfilled words if you remain still. Not because I broke my word, but rather because I didn't answer. Expectation is all that faith is if it does not become attitude. And dissatisfaction comes when expectations are not met. How often has this happened to you? Did you sense that something was about to happen but it never did? Did you observe the presence but choose not to proceed? Did you not rise up even though you heard the voice? Don't allow this to occur again. Keep your religion alive with purpose. Make it an instinct. A leap. A leap into the unknown with the knowledge that I will be there to greet you. For a change, you have been praying. Make a breakup call. I desired to have a new experience. But we have to do something immediately. The area where fear has imprisoned you must be left. The comfort of stagnation must be given up. You need to assert that you trust what I stated more than what your eyes can perceive. Because you are not naturally capable of what I have prepared for you. Faith is the only way to reach it. Enjoy this video now as a response if this word bolstered your faith and reminded you that paradise is waiting for your action. It's a sign that you're awakened, not simply a gesture. That you were aware of time. May your faith be strong, vibrant, and prepared to lead you in the direction I desire. Doors are awaiting your compliance. When you take the initial step, skies are waiting to open. Those who have faith can experience miracles. And I'm calling you to trust now more than ever. With deeds rather than words. With deeds that demonstrate your beliefs. Even if you can't see, what do you think? And that you are prepared to walk in a place where you can only be sustained by faith. It's not necessary to have everything resolved. All you have to do is believe. And the believer takes action. The one who has faith climbs. Obedient people believe. And to those who comply, my greatness is revealed in every little detail. I agree with you. You will discover that you have never walked alone if you take the first step. Time passes. With each second that goes by, I get closer to realizing what I have let go of. However, it also reduces the time between judgment and promise. For there is accountability when there is revelation. Furthermore, anyone who has heard my voice can no longer act as though they are unsure of what to do. Those who listen and obey are the ones I am calling. Those who are aware that now is a moment for positioning rather than passivity. People who believe until the situation changes rather than waiting for it to change. So far, nothing you've heard has been an inspirational speech. The calling was spiritual. His soul received a direct appeal from heaven. I didn't bring you here to pique your interest. I brought you here to awaken a dormant part of yourself. To restore the trust that had been eroded by time. Restore the gold that the conflicts attempted to suppress. Since I still rely on you. I still have intentions including you. I still want to utilize you to spread glory across this age. The number of times you halt is irrelevant. The number of setbacks that characterized your career is irrelevant. What you decide to accomplish right now, rather than what is left behind, determines what lies ahead. Since I'm an expert at fresh starts. And each time you search for me, I offer you a fresh chance to follow my plan. However, we have to realize that there is not much more time for deliberation. There won't be any more room between two ideas. You will either continue to live merely shards of what may be fullness or you will genuinely surrender. At this moment, an unseen movement is taking place. Destinies are being realigned in heaven. Where there were once simply blocks, I am now creating pathways. I'm taking away barriers you were unaware of. I'm getting people, places, and resources ready. Spiritually, I am setting you up for something that is above your capabilities. Your delivery, however, will determine all of this. Your perseverance will determine this. You must have the resolve to start and stick with it. Because taking the first step is not tough. Remaining faithful after the excitement is the difficult part. To maintain composure after the emotion subsides. In keeping in mind that, despite shifting feelings, my word is constant. For that reason, I want you to keep in mind everything that has been said thus far. May you cherish every lesson, every guidance, and every insight. Therefore the adversary will attempt to steal. It will be diluted by distractions. However, whomever safeguards what he gets lives up to the commitment. All of information wasn't given to you by accident. You are ready, that's why. Even if you don't think you can. Even yet, there are still uncertainties, worries, and insecurities. No one knows you as well as I do. And I am aware that you have a strong desire to follow my instructions. People want to live out the prophecies. A desire for something tangible is present. And I'm going to work with this heart. That I'll mold it. I'll make advantage of that. Because true hearts are not rejected by me. I make them stronger. I raise them. I forward them. You're not by yourself. Throughout the entire process, I have been present. Every time I was told, I muttered a wish. He was laying the groundwork for something greater in every quiet. And remember that this is only the beginning as you breathe and notice the changes in the atmosphere around you. The start of anything fresh. The start of the harvest. The start of a life that will be led by obedience rather than uncertainty. And everything that before appeared far away will start to materialize with vigor, clarity, and consistency. You know now. You've heard it before. You know it already. What are you going to do with all of this? Will you act on it or will you hold it close to your heart? Will you carry this presence with you wherever you go, or will you ignore its movement? I didn't call you to live moments for that reason. You were called to live a covenantal life by me. A never-ending loop of hearing and answering. Of disclosure and compliance. Of expression and closeness. What starts today doesn't finish. In me, it becomes a part of who you are. Inhale deeply. Something significant is going to occur.